Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining me today on today's webinar. My name is Daniel Marsh, and I am a Business Development Manager here at Zyxel UK. So today's webinar is in regards to the latest release of Nebula. So some nice new features have been added into it. There is a questions box, so if you've got any questions while I'm going through the presentation, feel free to post them into there, and then I will address them at the end of the webinar. And all slides will be provided to you as well as a bit of a follow-up. So thank you ever so much, and let's get started. So today's agenda is really going to be having a look into Nebula and some of those, for those people that are new, just having a bit of a recap as to what Nebula is. Then we're going to be sort of focusing on the challenges of small businesses and how Nebula can help and how it's sort of evolved. And then some of the new releases of January 2022. And then, as I say, we've got a question section at the end. So Nebula is our cloud management platform where you can actually manage all of your network infrastructure, so your switches, your access points, and your security gateways. One of the biggest benefits is the fact of being able to launch it in minutes. So with like the app that you can get for both your Google operating system on your phone and iOS, you have the ability to scan the QR codes, register your devices, and as soon as they're plugged into an active internet connection, they will just go online and download the configuration, so making deployments and networks much easier and just taking the stress of what the original on-premise sort of installations used to have. So it really is streamlining the deployment method of this. So once you've got the sort of devices registered and all your organizations and your sites set up within Nebula, it is just a case of just sitting back, plugging in the devices and letting them to deploy on their own. And they will download the latest firmware and make sure they're fully up to date. And then from that, you'll then be able to check the status of it, make sure they're all up and running, and just continue to sort of grow your business. So in regards to the actual control center that we've got available with Nebula, on the screen that's being shown at the minute, it just shows you a quick overview of what you actually get when you're using Nebula. It is a multi-tenant platform, so you can have multiple organizations, and you can have under the organizations, you can have multiple sites, which can easily be selected using drop-down menus from this screen. So you can easily switch from one site to another, one organization to another, for diagnostics purposes, for general referencing and monitoring purposes, and obviously you can go on there and make any changes that you need to based on your sort of requests. So one of the biggest things is once you've actually deployed a network is what sort of technologies behind it to help you troubleshoot the network. So if you've got any issues, what sort of support elements have you got to it? So just to name a few of them, you've got like the remote CLI, so the command line interfaces, so being able to drill further for those more advanced technical users of being able to diagnose it. One of my favorite features is the ability that within each of the switch and the individual switch ports, you can run a cable diagnostics. So if for whatever reason an access point or a device isn't functioning as you would expect, you can actually start drilling down into the individual port and having a look to see if it is like a physical issue with the cable, and then you can make choices of what you want to do with that. Either look at replacing the cable. Ideally, you want to start installing with Cat 6A because that's going to help with future growth, especially with how multi-gig switching is coming into the market now as well, of being able to leverage from getting up to 10 gigabit per second over traditional sort of Cat 5e connections. So if you are looking at installing any cables, then go for the higher quality cables, being Cat 6A. Being able to do speed and ping tests from a particular device as well is quite handy. So if one device is actually suffering any potential issues, you can go on there, you can run your pings, you can run your trace routes, and you can also run speed tests as well, just to understand exactly what is happening on the network to that particular device. So it allows you not only to drill down to the overall sites to have a look at overall issues from a switch point of view, but also down to the actual devices itself, which really helps give visibility of any issues that you could be having on the network. From a topology point of view, so we all know that we all used to open up Visio, we used to write up the topology so that we can store it into a file server somewhere, so we know exactly how the network is built up, what connects into what, how many access points we've got, how many switches we've got, how many redundant links we've got. With the automatic topology view within Nebula, as your site grows, as you install your devices, all the devices can speak to each other. When they speak to each other, they can exchange information and actually build up this topology for you. So it'll give you a visual diagram of what is connected onto what, how many access points you've got, how many switches you've got. But it'll also tell you things like what remote port the access point's plugged into, so you can really get into it and interact with this topology to narrow down your supporting techniques. I've used it many times when I've been out on site, and it's helped me establish quite a few different issues and configuration changes that need to be made, physical issues which have been done in the topology, or when it comes to cabling, things are plugged into the wrong area, but then also to highlight certain devices that are on your network that shouldn't be as well. So again, it really does give you that high level information. And on top of that, obviously, logs and user order information is always important. Knowing exactly what's going on, what logs it generates based on issues, things like rapid spanning tree and resilience, what the users are doing. So if you're using things like authentication, knowing that the devices are authenticating in the correct methods, which helps you further protect your network, because authentication is all about protection. So it really does help you sort of meet those needs from a supporting point of view. So that gives you a bit of an idea in regards to what Nebula is available. And if for whatever reason you need any live demonstrations on Nebula, all you got to do is get in touch with your local Zyxel team, somebody be in contact with you, and arrange a suitable time to run through a live demonstration. We have all the experience in-house, so that's not a problem at all, and it's something that the team quite enjoy doing, is actually showing people what Nebula can do, and really drilling down into potential challenges that you come across in existing network infrastructures you've got, and how Zyxel can actually help you overcome that. So in regards to like being able to meet your future needs, obviously a lot of small businesses were hit very hard with the pandemic and was overlooked by most networking brands. Now Zyxel are committed to supporting and helping them thrive into the digital transformation securely and reliably. And that's not just from a product point of view, that is from a sort of an employee and a Zyxel personnel point of view. We're always here to help, whether it be something small or something big. Everybody in the team have got a lot of passion to making sure that the solutions that we implement work and provide you that level of future growth as well. And obviously with the accelerated digital integration for all businesses nowadays, social, e-commerce and virtual presence are increasing, and especially with this sort of hybrid home working and things like that. So we've had to adopt like a reliable, always on connectivity approach, because it is essential to everyday businesses, and not just small, medium businesses, but education. Back when I was at school, curriculum wasn't that heavy on ICT and computers, but as you have a look at it now, if there's a problem with your internet connectivity or your internal networking, that has a massive detrimental effect to the whole curriculum as a whole, whether it be RE, geography, history. It's all relying on IT infrastructure. So as I say, we're committed to making sure that we adopt this always on approach. So, I mean, some of the pain points that we have in regards to networking as a whole at the moment. So, complexity. So, as you're installing networks, the complexity of installing it can be quite daunting. And trying to find a solution that is sort of simple, scalable, and flexible to meet your needs, because as time goes on, your needs may change, and having a platform in place and a technology in place to cater for that is paramount. So remote working has obviously added a massive complexity for many people. Some people wasn't geared up to work from home. So as soon as we was hit with the pandemic and having to go into lockdown, it really was a struggle for a lot of people. So we're obviously to provide guidance and the technology to overcome that. As I say, reliability as well. So unreliable Wi-Fi is no longer an option. So slow processes, frustrated employees and customers. Whenever your internet or your Wi-Fi is affecting your services, everybody starts getting a headache. It means that orders can't go out, and just poor quality Wi-Fi is no longer an option. So this always-on connectivity that we're looking at doing is making sure that it is on as much as time as possible. We're always going to be reliant on an internet connection. Ideally, we want to have multiple internet connections to reduce that even further. But everybody's moving to things such as Office 365, and finance and logistics packages are all going cloud-based. That is where it's going. On-premise servers are becoming a thing of the past because it's a lot of money to implement. They've got to upgrade them every couple of years. But if you go for something like software as a service and you get a Microsoft Azure server online and just pay a consistent monthly subscription towards these services, it means that you don't have the need of having to replace the on-site hardware and another thing to go wrong, another thing to pay out if there is an issue. You pay that service, and things like Microsoft have the infrastructure in place to provide you that level of resiliency, working on towards that always-on principle that obviously not only we're looking at, but everybody else is looking on as well. Because if you have any downtime, then that does mean heavy losses for businesses who are not prepared. So again, you need to look at these sort of things moving into the sort of digital age. And security. So security is always on the increase. You have cyber attacks from hackers who are just sat there sometimes testing the skills, or potentially looking to actually extort you for sort of a ransom. So targeting you with ransomware and exploiting that and trying to get money out of you. I mean, reports show that 60% of SMBs go out of business within 6 months due to data breaches. I know that security in schools is quite high, and that firewalls and cybersecurity was something that they never used to consider, but now it is one of their biggest focuses when it comes to the trusts and the governing bodies, because people are being impacted. They hold a lot of sensitive data. If that sensitive data is breached, that can have a massive detrimental effect, because ultimately, if somebody takes your data and holds it at ransom and says you've got to pay X amount to get it back, what other options have you got? But there's no guarantee that once you pay that ransom that they're actually going to be able to release that data or even not publish it. So it's really something that you need to bear in mind, and something that we're really working to reduce over time. And it's a constant evolving threat as well. So we're always at the forefront. We're always speaking with security experts and things like that, seeing what we can do to actually improve our principles in the technology, but also with our experience in-house as well. So again, just feel free to always pick up the phone to us, and we'll see what we can do to assist you in that area. So how have we got over those challenges that I've just been discussing on the previous slide? So with Nebula, we've gone for a simplified approach. So a fast and simple way to configure and install your network infrastructure. Being able to deploy it from a remote location, you can set everything up on the Nebula web page and actually just deploy it to a live site, and even you can get your first line guys, your apprentices and things like that to install it, because as long as they're given clear directions, all the technology and all the complex setup is done in the background prior to the deployment of it. So as things grow, being able to be scalable as well is very important, because we all know that we don't envision our companies sitting at the same point for the next 5 years. If anything, we want our companies to grow. We want to see it get bigger and bigger and bigger. And this is the viewpoint of everybody. Nobody wants to sit in the same position. So making sure you have a scalable and powerful single platform such as Nebula to help you do that is key, because as you grow, we grow. And the platform can cater for that as well. So you can continuously keep adding new sites, adding new equipment. And with the simplified approach with licensing, makes it much easier and much more cost effective as well. And with the ability with, as I say, with Wi-Fi coverage and sometimes older buildings, listed buildings, the challenges of being able to get cables into certain areas as well. You have the easy mesh facility as well, which is pretty much just a tick box. And then it will allow access points to connect back to each other to extend that wireless range, but also rid you of that complexity of not being able to run cables into certain areas. So that's like, as I say, giving you a simplified approach to networking moving forward. Reliability. So what I say about always being on. So we've moved into the next generation of Wi-Fi. So Wi-Fi 6 is now come around, which is also called AX. So we've got quite a comprehensive portfolio which offers you a fast and reliable Wi-Fi coverage and can offer a theoretical speed of up to 9.6 gigabit per second. So really moving into that next generation of Wi-Fi speed and connectivity, making sure that all these devices that we're getting out now, I mean, we've got smartwatches, we've got loads of Internet of Things devices, we've got smart meters for your heating. All of these things will connect back onto your Wi-Fi and onto your networks, and making sure that we've got products being able to really leverage from the speeds that we can give you is paramount to make sure everything's working, and these more high density deployments as well. I mean, I'm looking at some current deployments with Wi-Fi 6 for stadiums, a couple of stadiums up north, and again, I go down to schools. There's a lot of areas where they're high congested there. Some schools have 50 to 100 laptops all sat in one room at any one time, or iPads. So again, this Wi-Fi 6 technology is ideal. And so last year we actually brought out our security platform onto the Nebula platform, which was something that was highly anticipated by customers and something that we felt we was missing. So we got it on with all the features that are there for you. So we've gone even one step further than that. We've also now introduced 5G and LTE into the platform. So being able not only to do it to those locations where you can get dedicated internet connectivity, but also doing those remote locations that don't have the ability to be able to get a physical line installed to them. So really starting to push it out. I mean, construction sites, for instance, they'll rock up out on a site that has no power. They'll be running off generators. They need internet connectivity just as much as anybody. So being able to rock up on site with something that is easily configurable and deploy it onto a temporary site with an LTE unit and run all your network off it, and then once they're finished, they pack it all away and go off to the next site. It's ideal. Or for those areas where they do have an internet connection, but they want that element of security, again, always on principle. If you have an internet problem and something goes down, it can be detrimental. So being able to create an automatic internet backup with pretty much just a tick of a button once it's all set up is ideal. People love the idea of having a bit of resilience in their network. And with the amount of applications that are being used nowadays and the amount of apps that you can get on your phones, being able to control that is key, because if people are just using the internet connectivity for every application with no sort of bandwidth control over it at all, that will obviously impact the level of speeds that you're getting. So with our new Connect and Protect service that I'll go into on the next few slides, it gives you the ability to be able to do that, to be application aware and to put certain things in place to help improve your network capacity and reduce what people are doing on applications which aren't deemed to be for work purposes. So secure. So as I said, security is key with the massive increase of cybersecurity. So the key thing is that we're trying to accomplish here is to be able to protect the clients, the staff, and all mission critical devices like the point of sale systems, because if they get impacted, it can be disastrous for the business. So Connect and Protect, again, which I'll go into very shortly, uses IP reputation and application visibility to allow you to secure your network directly from the access point. So if you're not using our security gateways, you still have that level of security from an access point level, which is ideal, especially for the smaller sort of businesses and things like that, where potentially they might not need a firewall to control all the network. It could be a temporary solution like at a building yard, but you still have that level of protection from an access point of view. And then moving into the newer generation, we now support WPA3 on our latest access points, but we also support two-factor authentications for things like VPN connectivity, captive portal. You've got two-factor authentication for the actual the Nebula platform as well. The two-factor authentication is not only being able to log in with your username and password, but also being able to use your phone of something like Google Authenticator, so that you would get a key or being able to approve it on your phone as well. So nobody can log into that actual network or that device unless they've got your phone as well. So really giving you that next level security. So let's go into Connect and Protect. So Connect and Protect has been specifically designed to give small businesses a hassle-free approach to set up powerful network protection and to protect their connected clients. So the users that are connected to the wireless access points and have the Connect and Protect services enabled on the access point will benefit from a protection against dangerous and malicious internet traffic. So things like I say about ransomware, you know what I mean? People trying to steal your data to extort you for ransom and financial gain. Phishing sites, so sites which appear to be legitimate but really are not, and you click on them and it allows you to put data in there. Some people do get caught out about that. I mean, I know that in my local authority, there was a phishing site received by one of the accounts. They put all their information in there, and they actually forfeited 20 grand. And it's a massive thing to try and recover that and to investigate that. So again, these things are really important. It doesn't matter how big or how small the company is. Everybody can be targeted, and everybody can make that mistake. So having the technology protect you, but then you also need to think of just a bit of custom sort of user awareness as well. We need to educate our customers. We need to educate our end users. What is legitimate? What isn't legitimate? And together we can ultimately cut down the amount of cyber attacks which actually fall through the net. And obviously privacy and safeguarding of personal information is what it is all about, because that's what they go after. So with the CMP, so the Connect and Protect and the Connect and Protect Plus, you can just rest assured that your privacy is safe from being revealed. It de-identifies personal information and data to preserve the privacy of the venue and network sort of users and owners. So any sensitive business information and online activities are not monitored by the network providers when you're using the Wi-Fi connection. It's all sort of encrypted. So again, the Connect and Protect services is the next evolution. We're really going to sort of move towards a high level security element. So the two licenses that we've got with Connect and Protect, so we've got Connect and Protect, and then we've got Connect and Protect Plus. So on the Connect and Protect, all it allows you to do is the IP reputation filter, and the Connect and Protect Plus will provide you the IP reputation filter, but on top of that, it will also give you visibility of the applications that are being used over the Wi-Fi connection. And then in addition to that, if you've got visibility of the applications and you know there's something going on that shouldn't be, and it's potentially causing a detrimental effect to your internet connection, then you can look at providing bandwidth control on that and saying, yeah, TikTok, Facebook, and all these social media platforms have very little, if any, bandwidth to play with. But then you've got things such as Outlook and Google Drive and all these applications, and Skype and Teams, all these things that are required. You provide them the highest level of bandwidth because, again, they're mission critical services that you're going to be using. So being able to do this really does help you move into that sort of area. So let's have a quick look at the table of access points which support the CMP and the CMP Plus. So you'll see that, like the lower end access points, the AC Wave 2 access points, the NWA 1123 ACV3, the WAC 500 and the 500H, they all support the CMP, so the IP reputation filter. But then you get into the AX and the Wi-Fi 6 products, which, as I say, we've got quite a comprehensive portfolio and a really the sort of looked after access points, especially from a customer point of view. I mean, they are literally flying off the shelves for every project. Everyone's moving into Wi-Fi 6 nowadays. The CMP Plus is there and allows you not only the IP reputation filter, but the application visibility and the bandwidth control for those applications as well. Just in regards to a question also that got through from Stephen, so in regards to using LTE within Nebula, we are going to sort of touch on to the products that we have available for it. But if you want to go into a bit more detail into what LTE can do, then get in touch with the Zyxel sales team and let's get a call organised. It'll be a team session. We can show you all the products that we do from an LTE point of view, and then we can also run you through exactly what we can do with Nebula. So going straight into that, so again, we've sort of implemented now the 4G and 4G and 5G routers. We've got an outdoor one, we've got two indoor ones as well. So providing a simplified approach for actually deploying these remote routers in remote locations and benefiting from the 4G and 5G technology that's available today. So with the Nebula app, again, it can be up and running in minutes, no complex setup required. It is a case of just scanning the devices, adding them onto your site, and away you go. Because the SIM card that you put into the device receives all its information from the carrier, all that information is done pretty much seamlessly anyway. We're not locked down to any particular SIM card manufacturer, so depending what signal you get from the cellular company will determine what SIM card that you want to use. So again, for all these new builds, building sites where there's no service provider yet with an installed internet line, there's no need to wait for them anymore. Let's get a 4G or 5G router out there and let's see some of the benefits. I mean, I've known people in an area where they've got poor connectivity with an outdoor router being able to get sort of 80 meg. And I've actually considered cancelling their lease line based on the reliability that they've had from the 5G router. So again, it's there, it's working really, really well. And now that it's in Nebula, I just expect the demand and the excitement around 4G and 5G to actually improve. So yeah, let's just go into a couple of the access points that we've got available. So these are our Wi-Fi 6 access points, and by far are the most two popular ones. So the 110AX is pretty much our sort of entry-level Wi-Fi 6 access point. It's very popular, and people just generally seem to buy that. But then you've got the 210, which again benefits from the 4x4 radios that you can get on it, and not only that, is going into the 2.5 gigabit LAN port as well. So starting to improve on moving away from 1 gig networking to 2.5 gigabit networking. These devices, again, like anything in Nebula, up and running in minutes. It's easily expandable with the Zyxel Easy Mesh connectivity. And then again, for security points of view, being able to do the application filtering or awareness, as well as the bandwidth throttling as well, is important. And the security services are actually on the access point, and the licenses are applied to the access point. So no need for the security firewall. If you're only looking for a low-level security device, the Wi-Fi will help you get there. However, obviously, security on the access points is okay, but you can never walk away from the fact of having a dedicated on-site firewall. So this is where our USG Flex series comes into view. Not to mention, we've also got our ATP series, which we aren't going to cover into this today's session. I'm more than happy to have a call offline to discuss this further. But so the USG Flex 100, for instance, it's a security firewall, so it gives you your content filtering, it gives you your IDP, it gives you your antivirus, all the bits that you would need to make sure your network is secure. It'll support up to 25 users. Again, so it's a small unit. It's not massively outpriced, and it's really well in the market. And for those small offices are really good. And there is also a one with a built-in wireless capability as well. So for those areas where it might not be big enough to have an external access point, then you can have a all-in-one solution just with a firewall itself. So for them real small sort of businesses. We've recently brought out a GS1958 EP. So this is just a small switch, a 60-watt PoE budget, providing 8 ports of gigabit Ethernet. So this sort of fits into the small office environment alongside the USG 100. If it's a small office, you don't need a massive switch. It's fanless, so it's dead quiet and provides you that element that you need to be able to power your access points as well, given the fact it supports PoE. Then you've got like our WAX 510D. So this is the higher end business grade level sort of access point, which can go into small environments and works really well. And with the optimized antennas as well, giving you the ability to not only mount it on the ceiling, but also to mount it on the walls, and with a flick of a button will change the radio pattern to meaning that you won't lose any wireless coverage and you won't increase the potential co-channel interferences with upper and lower levels from where it is installed. And then now that we've got a 5G outdoor router, with those 4 devices all together, it gives you a full-on one full solution for security firewalls with a dedicated line plugged into that, a PoE switch to be able to connect multiple computers as well as access points into it, but then also providing you that backup and resiliency as well by having a 5G router mounted outside going into the firewall, all being managed by Nebula and being able to set automatic failover. So if your line goes down, all the traffic will seamlessly move over to the 5G router. As soon as your internet line comes back, everything moves back over. So not needing to respond quickly to any potential outages that you've got from an internet service point of view. And when I got this slide deck and I got told that we was doing a webinar today, and this slide came on saying we now support 80 devices, I had to question that because I thought to myself, 80 devices is a massive portfolio for Nebula. But I got him to count them, and he confirmed, and I can stand by him that there is definitely 80 devices confirmed to be supported now within Nebula. So as you can see, it is a really healthy and massive portfolio of devices that we've got available. So let's just go into the sort of the licenses that we've got for Nebula as a platform. So we've got a base pack. So this is free, basically. You can get a device, you can onboard it onto Nebula, you can start using all the base level features that we've got available, free of charge, no additional licenses needed. You just need to get the equipment, register your account, register the devices onto your Nebula account and plug them in, and away you go. You've got your Plus pack. So this has been designed to expand from the base functionalities for networks wishing to sort of gain access to some of the tools that speed up and simplify your day-to-day operations. So this is like for general small level management of your devices. So would fit into most small businesses and small medium businesses. Or we go for the Pro pack, by far the most sort of taken service pack that we do for Nebula, especially for the price point of it. So this includes all the advanced functionalities that can cater for the larger and more complex networks, and obviously can also deal with the smaller networks as well. It does include the advanced diagnostics tools. So if you're offering like a full MSP level service and you're basically their outsourced technical team, then you want to be looking at the Pro pack with the AI functionality, and you can unlock the full potential of all the networking hardware that you have available to you. So again, the Pro pack will provide you all our features, and as we bring out new features, those features will become available to you as well. And then we've also brought out the MSP pack. So unlike the other packs, the MSP pack is actually allocated to a particular user. So this can actually be used in conjunction to any other pack that you've got. Whereas an organization either has to be a base pack or a plus pack or a pro pack. No mixing plus and pro packs or base packs with it. It is one or the other. But with the MSP pack, this sits over the top of them all. And this is to provide you those managed service level features. So being able to increase the scalability by doing cross-organization management and being able to replicate settings for new organizations as your company grows and you onboard new organizations, it means that you can deploy it even quicker. Being able to sort of brand it. So if you're providing your customers with a low level account so they can do some of the general management or monitoring themselves, it can be white labeled to yourselves as well. But the added benefit, and by far the most distinct feature of the MSP pack, is being able to create admins and teams. So rather than going into every organization and adding administrators who want to be able to administrate at that site, you can do it from one location. So if someone leaves or you onboard somebody new, you add it in one place and it adds it for everybody. So again, really benefiting from the services that you're actually offering your customers. So they're the licenses that we offer from a platform point of view. From a individual device point of view, we've obviously got quite a few different licenses available. So some of you that have used Zyxel for quite a long time will understand that our old USG series is going end of life because it doesn't support Nebula, and we now have a USG Flex out. However, the USG 20W, which is a wireless unit, has been brought into the Nebula fold, so that is actually available. It is basically just a gateway and a small level firewall, but it doesn't have any of the antivirus features or IDP or anything like that, but it can provide you that content filtering. So that's what the content filtering service pack is all about, specifically for that unit to provide you with content filtering on that device. Secure Wi-Fi. Like I've said, Zyxel are invested to making sure that we have a look at our customers' demands and the way the world is in terms of what it requires. Remote working, obviously at the peak part of COVID, was a massive impact. So we actually, during that time, released what's called the remote access point. And this is the ability that when you've got a USG Flex or an ATP, so our firewalls on site, headquarters managed by Nebula, you actually have the ability to onboard a wireless access point, send it to an end user's home, for instance, and as soon as they connect on to the corporate SSID that you've configured in Nebula, it will provide them a secure VPN tunnel back to the head office. So no advanced or complex settings required to do that. No additional software needed on the computer, anything like that. You literally connect to an SSID that you've been given access to, and straight away you'll be able to access all the local resources. So any on-site servers, any PBX or phone systems you've got at the headquarters, any of those file servers that you can only access when you're in the office will now be available to you when you're at home, securely and managed by Nebula, just by connecting onto an access point. So the Connect and Protect, which is our newest license, which I've obviously touched on. So based on the supported access points, will provide you that extra little bit of security as well for your Wi-Fi connected clients. Your UTM security, so this is available for our USG Flex series, and this will provide you the antivirus, the IDP, the content filtering, secure reporter, so everything that you need on your firewall for the high level security platform. And then you've got our gold security. So this is specifically down to our ATP series, so our top of the range firewall. It supports everything the USG Flex does, but it has additional features such as sandboxing. So when a threat is first ever launched and it isn't currently identified as being a threat by any online database whatsoever, the actual ATP will detect this and go, well, hang on a second, mate. I don't actually know you. I've never seen you. You've never been categorized. I am going to analyze you and find out exactly what you do. So it will actually go off and put it into a sandboxing environment, and it will emulate what this file is doing. And then it will determine whether or not it's a malicious file or a safe file. And at that point, it will then update the database, go, right, I've just seen this new guy come out. He's malicious. Everybody block him. He's not coming onto our network. So all of our devices will actually look at that database and go, yeah, Mr. New Virus, you ain't coming into our network. So again, really leveraging from that 0-day threat that's just been launched. And then you've got the IP and DNS reputation filtering as well. So being able to filter based on IP block lists and DNS reputations as well. So it is designed for customers who require an extremely fast and reactive approach to network security as a whole. I would say that everybody should have an ATP because everybody should be very reactive when it comes to network security. But again, it all comes down to what their experience is. And if they're happy with a current UTM, then the USG Flex would be absolutely fine. So that is pretty much me done for today's webinar. Again, if there's anything you're not clear on, feel free to send through any questions. I'll sit on here for 30 seconds, a minute, see if I get any questions through. If you want me to expand on any features, if you want me to go through anything in a bit more detail, have a bit more of a one-to-one conversation, either with yourself or even bring your whole team onto it, then, as I say, get in touch with the sales team. And they will arrange that. Both myself and Nigel in the UK team specifically have a lot of experience with Nebula. We have a lot of experience with network deployments, physically being out on site, and also helping provide that solution into businesses to make sure it works and offer you that future proofing as well. So I know that I've answered Stephen's message going throughout in regards to LTE. I will look at getting a date and something organised with you, Stephen. So I'll give you a call in a few minutes, and we'll look at arranging a demonstration and discussing LTE within Nebula a little bit more. So in regards to, Gary has come through with a question, layer 3 switches making it to Nebula. So we do have our XS3800 layer 3 switch. So the layer 3 feature that we support within Nebula at the moment is static routing. That is usually the most used layer 3 feature. It's just obviously being able to route traffic around from an IP base. I mean, when you start going into layer 3 routing, you start looking at dynamic routing protocols such as OSPF and things like that, and they're obviously for your much more extreme networks. I haven't got anything on the roadmap in regards to OSPF, but it will be something that will be considered in the future. But again, the demand for those particular features aren't very high. So if you've got any sort of features from a layer 3 point of view, Gary, that you feel that we could be missing outside of static routing, then let's get a call arranged and let's take your feedback on that, and we can always feed it back up to the product line managers to establish if it's in the roadmap and if it's possible, which I'm sure it will be. And you're very welcome, Gary. So there don't appear to be any further questions on there. So again, you can always reach us. So if you sat there 10 minutes down the line and think, oh, I should have asked this question, then just reach out to us and we'll do what we can for you, and we'll arrange a call, drop you an email with the answers to your questions. But thank you ever so much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure. I think it's been the first webinar I've done for quite some time, and it's good that it's a new Nebula release, because every time Nebula gets a newer release, it's exciting times because the features that they're bringing into it are something that the customers are really after. So thank you ever so much for coming today, and thank you for the questions, everybody. Have a good day. Take care.